Hey guys, I'm with MatPat from Game Theory, who just launched his new show called Game Lab on YouTube Red. Congrats to that. Now, let's hear your top 5 E3 favorite games.
Absolutely.
Go.
Number 5 for me, I would have to say, is South Park, The Fractured But Whole.
Mm-hmm. Very
cadence is important
precise
there.
cadence.
Yes. In a year of really serious kind of like futuristic, we got to take down the corporation style games, it was nice to see one that had a sense of humor.
So what about number 4?
Number 4 for me would have to be Cuphead.
Yeah.
This is my little indie darling. The art style is completely unique. It's that hand-drawn kind of 1920s retro cartoon feel. Boss battles that are enormous, and it goes back to that old school level of hard that I, as kind of like a long-term gamer, get really excited about.
Now what about number 3?
Number 3, I would say, has to be For Honor. The sword combat isn't just your typical hack and slash. You actually have to thoughtfully consider your moves.
Okay.
You have to block and parry. And who doesn't want a game where you are literally solving the age-old question of samurais versus knights versus Vikings?
We're down to number 2, so which one is that one for you?
Number 2,
yeah.
I think this is a popular choice, Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
To see Nintendo take such a risk with one of their biggest franchises in history, one of gaming's biggest franchises. It feels like a Zelda game, and yet it's so completely not a Zelda game, and that's really exciting. It's a breath of fresh air for the franchise.
Now what about number 1, which is the big one?
Yeah, number 1 here, the big one, drum roll. PSVR, number 1, my pick for E3. The launch lineup that they said of 50 titles when it's released, very, very smart. Farpoint was probably some of the most satisfying first-person shooter gameplay that I've ever had. Resident Evil 7.
Oh, that was a big one.
I got the VR experience there. Literally pooped my pants. It was terrifying.
Oh, had to take the half day.
Like literally the
going.
adrenaline was rushing at the end of it. The headset is comfortable. It's probably the most comfortable of the headsets that I've tried.
Yeah, well now let's talk about your show Game Lab.
Well, actually, the VR component segues nicely.
Thank you.
Because each episode of Game Lab comes partnered with a VR component.
Yes, as I heard.
Game Lab basically stands for taking gamers off of their couches and putting them into the real-life situations they play through, so that way you get a more scientific look at all your favorite gaming scenarios. An episode is dedicated to For Honor. So how does swordplay in For Honor relate to real-life sword combat as it was done kind of back in the days of Knights and Vikings?
There you go. Thank you so much, MatPat. That's right, Game Lab is on YouTube Red. You should check it out. And thanks for giving us your top 5 of E3, and we'll see you guys soon.
No, thank you for having me.
Of course. Keep it locked to IGN.
Indeed.